Greetings everybody, my name is Tommy the Game Master and welcome to my channel. Well, today I'm going to be playing one of the worst Batman games I have ever played. Granted, I did skip the PS2 era Batman games, which I heard were terrible, but this one is certainly bad enough. And to make matters worse, I bought it twice. Once on the 3DS and once on Steam, just to make sure I could give this game a fair chance, and nope, it's a bad game, there's no way around it. Now, it's not bad in a way of being poorly made. It has some good visuals, for example, a nice frame rate, etc. It is, however, poorly executed, trying to cram Batman into a Metroidvania game without realizing all the hazards that can come with making that kind of game. Batman Arkham Origins Blackgate Deluxe Edition, which is a mouthful, manages to hit every flaw you can think of when it comes to a Metroid type game. So let's take a look at this Mount of Guano and see just what went wrong. Now, I haven't played through Arkham Origins yet, but I have played through Asylum and City, just not Origins. Anyways, I guess the story in Blackgate here happens a few months after the console game. One night on patrol, Batman manages to find and capture Catwoman and send her to Blackgate Prison. A few weeks later, a major riot happens at Blackgate and the prisoners take control of the prison, and it's up to Batman to infiltrate the prison and restore order. He finds Catwoman shortly after arriving, and she offers to be his eyes and ears as he takes down the three leaders behind the riot: the Penguin, the Black Mask, and of course the Joker. From there, the story is pretty much by your books Metroidvania. Cutscenes happen whenever your character meets a boss character and some dialogue is exchanged. It's nothing really riveting, but it gets its job done of having a narrative. The cutscenes here, which are barely moving comic stills, do a decent job of telling the story. The artwork is certainly nice looking, even if it doesn't blend in with the rest of the game. Yeah, I normally go with gameplay first, but I have to talk about graphics here for two reasons. First, this is an HD upgrade to a 3DS game, and secondly, your love or hatred with this game will come from its graphics, mainly in the way they decide to show off the world. It's 2.5D most of the time, but you find yourself either turning corners or interacting with vents in the background, which changes the direction the Batman goes. Meaning you get 3D maps in this. And if that sounds like it could be confusing, there's a good reason for that. Because it is. To make matters worse, the three areas look almost identical. They're all just run-down prison motifs for the most part. They all have areas on fire or have electrical shortages. None of them look any different in any eye-catching way. You have to pay attention to even know if you're in administration, for example, or in cell blocks. This makes backtracking even more boring, and yes, you have to do a lot of it. The shame of it is the first opening tutorial level with Catwoman shows just how colorful a game this could have been if the developers had decided to show off more areas than that of a freaking prison. Now, if you're wondering about the HD upgrade and the Deluxe Edition, I'll say this: it's 10 times better than playing on the 3DS. Everything I complain about is still here in the HD version, but it's toned down compared to the 3DS. You can see items, you can interact with the background easier, and while the prison is kind of sparse for memorable scenery, you do get a lot of better sense of where you are in the HD version. It also has a great frame rate, so yeah, the console version is actually the better one to pick up if you're interested in playing this game. But let's get on to the gameplay and talk about the problems this game truly has. Alright, I already mentioned those bland environments, but let's take a look at what makes Batman Arkham Origins Blackgate really stink. Basically, the idea is to solve puzzles in each environment and get to the boss's lair and then finish the boss off. When they're all finished off, Batman can gain access to the Arkham Wing and finish the game. The puzzles, with the exception of a few tricky ones, usually involve using one of Batman's 4 tools: batarangs that can be electrified, bombs, using a bat line, and finally a bat hook to get around obstacles. While using the tools is simple enough, one of the things that does get old fast is that in order to lock onto something, you've got to scan it in detective mode. This does get annoying really fast, especially for boss fights when you already have so much else going on. Stopping to scan things is really annoying when you have enemies after you. Another small complaint I have with the game is that Batman can't jump. While this isn't Bionic Commando by any means, the only way to get to other platforms, though, is to use the grapple gun, which takes away a lot of freedom that comes with jumping in these kinds of video games. Now, let's talk about combat whenever you get to it. Yeah, the game is kind of bare bones for this kind of actions, and that's especially hard because these types of games usually have a lot of it. In most games of this genre, enemies are just around and pretty much everywhere on the map. Here, they're just placed on certain areas of the map, and you have to fight them whenever they come around. The hand-to-hand stuff is the same as it is in other Arkham games. You can punch, counter, and stun enemies using different combos. It doesn't work very well in 2D, though. Yeah, it's functional enough, don't get me wrong, but compared to the excitement and joy I got from doing this type of combat in Asylum and City, that joy is no longer here. On the good news side, though, the stealth areas where you have to deal with the enemies with machine guns actually does work pretty well in the 2D environments. Figuring out where you are and what thugs to deal with and timing is a lot easier in this game, and I enjoyed some of the stealth missions far more than I did in the 3D Arkham games. But that's about the only good thing. Still, the fact that the map is sparse of these type of encounters does lead to long segments of no combat, which is very unusual for this type of game. As far as the boss fights go, they're a mixed bag. They have some good ideas, but expect a lot of frustrations, especially going against the Joker, as he has you constantly switching weapons and hoping you time your attacks just right, or else you're going to get hit, or miss the opportunity to stun the guy so you can wail on him with some well-timed punches. But the Penguin offers a good stealth fight, and Black Mask offers up some decent puzzles in order to catch him. But I guess I should talk about the one thing this game did to really piss me off. Now, with all the problems with the game I mentioned, its 2D action in a 3D space, and map which confuses the living hell out of me, its bland backgrounds and set pieces, and the need to scan everything in order to get around, as well as a lack of combat, the developers actually had the nerve to drop a last-minute MacGuffin hunt in order to complete the game. Yeah, you know in Metroid Prime how you had to go back and find all those artifacts in order to enter the last area? Yeah, same thing here, except where Metroid Prime's world was mostly fun to explore, there's nothing fun about going back to some of these obscure corners that this wasted time makes you go back and do. And it's not like the boxes are cleverly placed or you need new equipment or abilities to find it. You just have to go back and find them again because they don't pop up until you open the Arkham Wing. And after a story segment occurs when you open the Arkham Wing, you just gotta go back to these areas you've already been through and defuse these bombs. There are 5 of them, and they're all in areas that are a pain to reach and require you to back through pretty much the entire area in order to get to them. You've already been through these areas and solved the puzzles. It's just a waste of time, and it just adds an extra level of tediousness to this game, to the point where it's almost maddening. You know, the cool thing about most of the Arkham games is that they obtained as many of the old actors from the 90s animated cartoon shows that they could get. Not here. You get completely new actors for the characters, throwing the old nostalgia curve completely out the window. That said, they're not bad sounding. While Troy Baker is no Mark Hamill, he is a decent Joker, and the voice for Batman is certainly passable. There's nothing remarkable about the music, however, it's about as bland as the set pieces for this game.
Hostages, the entire prison staff. Blackgate. Seems like we were just there. You don't have to tell me. I'll approach the prison from the riverside.
Now, Batman Arkham Origins Blackgate is not a terrible game because it's broken, it's just poorly executed. Everything that can make a game like Metroid bad, this game commits in some way or another. Either boring or confusing set pieces and stage design? Check. Lame puzzles that seem to be a distraction from what you should be doing, which is exploring the world? Check. Combat that doesn't seem to fit in right, check. And finally, a useless McGovern quest just for the sake of having a useless McGovern quest, check and double check. I only recommend this game to hardcore Batman fans and only when it's on sale. Wait for this game to be $5 or less before picking it up if you're interested. This is Tommy the Game Master thanking you for watching this video. I'm sorry about the audio problems. For some reason my microphone is giving me fits tonight. Anyways, I would love to have you as a subscriber to my channel. I do my reviews on this channel. I also do audio commentary, rants, and other things, and I would love to have you as a member of my community.